What's happening guys, Naj here and welcome back to the broadcast. The Resident Evil 4 Remake demo has launched 2 weeks ahead of the full game, titled Resident Evil 4 Chainsaw Demo, so you can probably guess straight away from the title this is going to be the opening village section of the game. As I always am, I was a little skeptical about this remake, especially after the dumpster fire that was the Resident Evil 3 remake. I really did not enjoy that game, but this demo has done nothing but excite me, and here are a few reasons why this could be as good or even better than the original, based on my impressions from this demo. But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button, I really do appreciate it, and you'll be able to catch all my upcoming videos. Number 1 is the changes to the story. Whilst the short demo and following the same breadcrumb trail as the original, in the snippet we get, I can tell already this is going to be a far more mature and deeper retelling of the beloved game's plot. Darker in tone and far more cinematic than the original, which was incredibly corny with Leon being presented as this cheesy action man. Something I have no doubt will not change too much, as those characteristics are still present with Leon's badass one-liners, including the iconic bingo line. But with that said, this is a continuation of the reimagined character from the Resident Evil 2 remake, and we can already see moments of how the events of Raccoon City have had a nightmarish effect on Leon's mentality, potentially offering a more tonally balanced experience, a more horrifying rendition without sacrificing Leon's personality we love. We get some flashes of his character development between Resident Evil 2 and 4 in a kind of opening montage, with his training, his relationship with Krauser, and it all gives hope that Leon and the supporting characters will have more depth to them, including Hannigan, who gets her own screen time rather than just being a face on a codec call. Levels and iconic moments have also been altered and expanded upon. The opening of the game, where we enter the cabin to find our first Ganados, is more explorable, going into the basement to find slaughtered animals, tools, and our deceased tour guide, to then having to sneak through the cabin to escape those searching for us with the new stealth mechanic. The dog who was caught in the bear trap that could have been rescued in the original is now dead on arrival, meaning he will be unable to distract the troll in the later boss battle. These small but potentially huge changes to the narrative promise an exciting mix-up to the story I have played many times before, as many of us have. The next thing that stands out to me is how much more aggressive the combat is this time around. This was a mutual feeling back in 2005 when the game first released on the GameCube. It was a huge departure from the series' norm of slow-moving zombies in a somber setting and a slow burn gameplay style. And from this chunk of gameplay, it feels as if Capcom have yet again recreated that feeling of being overwhelmed. The Ganados swarm you in packs from multiple angles, throwing their axes, grabbing you from behind, stabbing you with pitchforks. The introduction to the village square is one of the most iconic moments in Resident Evil history, and they have recreated it here to perfection. And again, despite playing this section many times before, it was difficult. I died a few times due to the improved design of enemy AI, and I cannot wait to try this out on some of the higher difficulty levels. You have to be constantly on the move, diving through windows, flanking around buildings. You will be surrounded before you even know it, just standing in one place. The enemies are smart and persistent, although some do like to take a little sit down until they are forced to get back up. It's all very aggressive, brutal and challenging, and this is only the start. Thankfully, Leon's control and abilities have also been improved to almost tip the balance into your favour. His manoeuvrability is far more fluent, being able to aim, shoot and move at the same time, crouch, parry chainsaw attacks, which is insane yet so immediately satisfying and makes such an iconic scene and enemy all the more memorable. The environments around you can also be used to your advantage, like shooting down a lantern to set a cow ablaze for it to then run through a swarm of Ganados, spreading the fire. It's chaotic, intense and very fun, and I cannot wait to see how these improvements impact gameplay throughout the rest of the game. Which leads me on to my next point. Resident Evil is a horror series, and with Resident Evil 4 to 6, the horror element slowly disintegrated to become a far more action-heavy series, losing that survival horror identity. Resident Evil 4 did always have a good balance of the two, but over time that horror element faded. Whilst the action appears to be as bombastic as ever here in the demo, horror is being re-injected into the game. Following in the steps of the Resi 2 remake, slow burn exploration through dark corridors with a new crouch mechanic, allowing for sneaking and stealth kills, moody atmosphere and horrific scenes return. Giving the impression this will focus on horror as much as the action, and it all looks beautiful. Again, it is just a snippet, but everything here is so recognisable yet fresh and new, which adds a layer of unpredictability. Whilst this section did not contain any jump scares and was far more action orientated, the action itself is horrifying due to that overwhelming nature of it, and just because you may be a returning fan to this game doesn't mean there are not surprises to catch you out. Climbing the watchtower in the original was a way to cheese your way through the Gonados, shooting them down as they climb to the top of the tower. A good strategy, but think again. It's like the developers knew this was abused, so as soon as I climbed to the top, the floor caved in and I fell into a pit of blood-hungry psychos. This was not supposed to happen, but I'm so glad it did. Little moments like these is what will put doubt and fear into me as a player. All these changes and improvements have changed my mind from doubtful to very hopeful for this Resident Evil 4 remake. The greatest thing about this teaser is that it feels like the same game I loved over the years time and time again, but it feels fresh, new and exciting. Will one of the greatest, most influential games of all time become one of the greatest, most influential games of all time again? Only a couple of weeks until we find out, but it's looking very promising. What did you guys think of the demo? If you haven't played it yet, you can check it out for free on PS5, PS4, Xbox consoles and PC. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.
I'll let myself out.